probably within 60 seconds. Yeah, and Ken knows, but obviously, Charles, everything everybody's seeing is on about a 30-second delay.
Right.
Okay.
Stand by, Sean.
Right. Click this. All right, coming to you guys in 3, 2, 1, you're on. You guys not hear me? I count you down. You're on. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening. Welcome to Election Returns on Star News. I'm Ken Eccles along with Charles Rourke. I'm in Eden. Charles is in Martinsville. We are geographically separate. We'll be right together on bringing you the results tonight to let you know who's going to win some very interesting races. Charles, we've got a little more excitement, a little more interest in a primary this year than we've had in these parts in a while, primarily because of 2 races, and Sam Page is connected to both of them in one way or another. The Page versus Berger thing has really gotten the public's attention and made this primary a real object of interest, more so than the normal primary. Plus, for the first time in a long time, we're going to have a new sheriff in Rockingham County because Sam Page will not be the sheriff any longer. A lot of interest in that one, too.
Oh, definitely. Is this? We're on the air. We're on the air right now. We're got all these things we have to get on, all these platforms we have to get on here. Sean, we're on the air now. All right, we're talking about Sam Page, and I remember in November when we start hearing that Sam might be running, or it's been a lot of talk about this. But then I remember being in Stokesdale, at the Stokesdale Marketplace, and Sam was out campaigning, and a lot of people, were wondering, why is he doing this? Because there's a lot of people say that you got Senator Phil Berger, who has so much clout, so much power in the race and so forth, and he's Senator Pro Tem. So there's a lot of folks wondering why in the world would Sam Page ever get in this race? But he's made it an interesting battle, don't you think?
Oh, it's interesting to say the least. We've seen some polling. All of the polling that I've seen is polling that's paid for by one campaign or another. There may be independent polls. If so, I missed it. But in the polling paid for by the campaigns, each campaign has polls that shows their candidate winning, which is not too much of a surprise. So we really don't know, at least I don't know. Some people may know more than I do. I don't really know what to expect when the votes start coming in and they start posting totals, which they haven't yet. But it's really an unknown factor as far as I can see. I have no idea what's going to happen. Charles, do you care to make a prediction?
I do believe Phil Berger will take Guilford, but I'm not sure he's going to take Rockingham. And I think the numbers between those two is what's going to make the race.
Well, most of the voters actually are in Guilford County. We think of it as a Rockingham County race because both the candidates are from Rockingham County. But actually, about 60, maybe more than 60% of the votes will come from Guilford County. I have no idea what the sentiment is in Guilford County. So that's just one more level of uncertainty that makes it hard to figure how this is going to go. Sam Page and Phil Berger I think we can safely say they have not been the best of friends for quite some time now. And a lot of people have expected for several election cycles that Sam Page would challenge Phil Berger. And we thought he would, and he didn't. And we thought he would, and he didn't. And we thought he would, and he did. So tonight, we're going to find out, Charles, exactly what it comes down to. Of course, Phil Berger, as you say, has been in the Senate, not only in the Senate, but a major power in the Senate, maybe the major power in the Senate for a very long time now. He's been President pro tem of the Senate since 2010. And he is generally considered, and I don't think very many people would argue with this, generally considered the most powerful politician in the state of North Carolina. Certainly more powerful than the governor, because governors come and go, and Phil Berger, to this point, is forever. So he's really been the political power in North Carolina, and one of the questions that people are wondering about is, do the voters want to give that up, having somebody with that kind of influence in Rockingham County?
That's right. And of course, the Berger campaign reminded me during this campaign, they kept showing me all the money, just with over $100 million that Senator Berger has been able to get Rockingham County in 2024. It does look like that clout does pay off for Rockingham County.
Well, things have happened in Rockingham County. If we sit here and try to think of a few, certainly Phil Berger apparently played a role in getting Purina into the old brewery building when it went away. He has talked about energy policies that have made it attractive for the Mountain Valley Pipeline, for example, to come through Rockingham County, which creates an opportunity for industries that use natural gas. He has talked about his support of the Second Amendment, the protected carry, freedom to carry bills, things like that he helped get through the Senate. So it's no short list of things that have happened that Phil Berger was very much involved in, and things that he naturally, and why wouldn't he, reminded voters of all during this campaign. So there's no question of the influence of Phil Berger, but there's this casino thing. One of the things he tried to get to Rockingham County that it turned out the people didn't want very much. Sam Page, of course, was on the other side of that. And I guess one of the unknown quantities, Charles, is how much of a role is that casino controversy going to play tonight?
That's right. I've talked to Phil Berger about that. He says he never wants to talk about a casino again. That's what he told me. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And another thing, just 2 weeks ago, $40 million going to UNC hospital there in Eden, and that was all a part of like over $400 million that Berger was able to get for rural hospitals in North Carolina. A lot of people believe that the Eden Hospital would not have been a UNC facility without Phil Berger's help.
That is, I've had two people have mentioned that to me, talking about this election, probably in the last couple of weeks. Two people who are in the healthcare profession have mentioned that to me, and they give Senator Berger a lot of credit for making that happen. So here it is. It's all going to come down to what is most important to the voters tonight, or what was most important to them today or over the past few weeks if they voted early. And what's going to carry the most weight. And we will find out. We don't have a clue yet because there haven't been any votes posted yet, but it should not be much longer before we get those posted. Another race, Charles, it's...
You get your refresh tab. We do have updates. I have the current Senate information on the screen. We're updating the other numbers as well. Currently,
all right.
Phil Berger at 2771. Sam Page at 1262, and that is a combination of the Guilford and Rockingham numbers.
All right. The old refresh button works wonders if you remember to click it. So there it is. Obviously, very early, but it is Phil Berger with a big lead in those first votes. It doesn't say how many precincts are reporting. That could be 1 or 2 precincts. We don't know, and we don't know where they are. But at least in the Berger camp, they like those little numbers that they've seen right now.
I'm sure that's a little bit of a sigh of relief to them, but I think it's going to be a longer night than that. I think we have to wait to see some of those Rockingham County numbers because a lot of people feel that Berger his steepest battle is going to be in Rockingham County. Sam Page is an extremely popular politician, well liked. I always tell the story when I'm out covering Sam Page. I never will forget it. I was interviewing and doing a live interview, and he's always politicking, and so forth. So Sam Page is probably one of the most popular politicians Rockingham County has ever seen. I think he won 4 to 5 times, and I'm kind of wondering how the county's going to survive without it because he's so popular.
There's no doubt he's a popular man in Rockingham County, and he has been for a long time. Of course, he went to Reidsville High School, then went away to the Air Force for a while. But he's been here ever since as a police officer in Eden and as sheriff. He's very well known and very well liked. And he's going to be a hard man to beat in Rockingham County. By the way, I noticed some new totals here. Now it is Page 6311 and Berger 5352. With that last tranche of votes that have been posted. So Sam Page has taken the lead. But again, all these numbers are very early and very preliminary, and we're not going to make too much of them. But it's Sam Page with the advantage right now. I guess many people say, and this may well be true, that if it was strictly a Rockingham County election, which it's not, but I've heard many people say if it was strictly a Rockingham County election, Sam Page would win easily. So I don't know if that's true or not, but we do know Sam Page is going to run very strong in Rockingham County. But it's those other votes in Guilford that will make the difference.
No doubt about it. And this I think this could be a nail biter. We're seeing some graphics. I'm not sure if I'm seeing some graphics on the screen that I believe it has sheriff candidates, or I'm not sure. What am I seeing there?
All the updated numbers we're going through. We'll also go to the ones that you're talking about. But since we're getting updated numbers on these, we're trying to go through the graphics.
All right. Okay.
Well, there, of course, is a Republican primary for sheriff tonight. We mentioned that briefly earlier. And that's one of the other races that, of course, is drawing a lot of attention to the primary this year. There are 3 candidates in that primary: Darren Wright, Billy Parker, and Brian Harbour. I don't have any totals there yet. Charles, do you have any?
I see there are pictures on the screens of some numbers, but I'm not sure what that is.
All right.
The numbers, it shows that Mr. Parker has 14, Mr. Wright has 25, Mr. Harbour has 12. You have their names above their picture, and you have the total numbers below. The person who is ahead has a green square, so it shows the total numbers that we have so far.
Okay.
All right. So, and extremely early and preliminary totals there. But that's going to be an interesting race as well to help determine who will be the sheriff, the new sheriff of Rockingham County. The first, as we mentioned, the first new sheriff in Rockingham County since Sam Page won the office in 1998. So it's been a long, long time since anybody other than Sam Page was sheriff in Rockingham County. Let's take a look quickly. Let me scroll back around here to the state Senate. The total vote in the state Senate between Page and Berger. Well, it hasn't changed. It's still Sam Page 6311 and Phil Berger 5352, and that is a very, very small portion of. In fact, it isn't even enough to count as one precinct reporting yet. It still says 0 out of 48 precincts, but it's Sam Page with an edge right now.
How about the House with Reese Fertile and Seth Woodall? How was that one coming?
All right. Well, let me switch over here to find that. If you'll give me just a second. We don't have anything on screen about that. I guess not. All right. Hang on.
Keep in mind, guys, that what he's seeing on screen is about 30 seconds behind what you all have. So you have to use the information in front of you. Currently, it shows that we have for the House, and we actually think we may have updated numbers, but Mr. Gibson III, the early numbers were 8 total, 18 total for Mr. Seth Woodall, and then Mr. Pirtle with 21. So again, I do think we have updated numbers. If you give me just a few minutes, we'll see if we have that.
Okay, we're bringing you election returns on Star News. I'm Ken Eccles with Charles Rourke, and we're glad to have you with us tonight as we count well, we're not counting the vote. They wouldn't let us count the vote. We're not counting the votes. We're just watching the vote counted, and then we'll pass that information along to you. Still no change in the Page Burger numbers. Let me refresh here and see if anything has changed there, because I saw Sam Page a little bit ahead on the last refresh just a few minutes ago. So scroll down to District 26 and Page 6311, Burger 5352. So no, that still has not changed. Another thing that Sam Page has talked about in the campaign, in addition to he doesn't like the casino, Sam Page has also talked a lot about the bill that Phil Berger was largely responsible for passing in Raleigh that exempts the General Assembly to a large extent from the Freedom of Information Act. This was done in the wake of the casino controversy, and that bill basically shields from public view a lot of the discussions and a lot of the communication that members of the General Assembly go through. Those things used to be subject to the Freedom of Information Act, but the bill made them basically secret and unavailable. Sam Page has been very critical of that. He says government ought to be getting more transparent instead of less transparent. And he indicates that if he gets to Raleigh, he will try to do something about that. Charles, that brings us back to another point. A first-term state senator wouldn't have nearly the ability to do something about that as somebody like Phil Berger, who's been there for a quarter of a century.
Exactly. And one of the things I think it's fair to tell you, because I've been trying to get Sam Page to address it. He did it one time, and he's very vague on it. Because I would say, how can you deliver what Phil Berger can deliver with his seniority? And he doesn't like that. He didn't like that question. And as we got further along during the primary season, he would avoid doing an interview with me because I'm the only reporter around here that's been asking that question. It's like, what? You know, because I just think the folks in Rockingham County deserve a good answer to that, and so this race is popularity versus seniority. But common sense will tell you that seniority will get you probably more than popularity, unless But some people think Sam Page is a rock star. So so there are people in Rockingham County that feel like that Sam Page can go down there and crack a whip and get things done. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. But
well, if there's one thing we've learned from politics over the years is that, well, seniority counts. I mean, there's no denying that. You can't deny the fact that seniority counts for something in a lot of walks of life, and absolutely in politics. On the other hand, everybody was a freshman at some point. I mean, even Phil Berger served his first term at some point. And seniority is something that if you survive long enough in politics, you have seniority, and Phil Berger has certainly done that. Can Sam Page go to Raleigh and stay there long enough to rise to the top in seniority? We don't know. But I guess what it comes down to is exactly what you said. If you have one candidate that maybe you prefer his positions a little more, but another candidate who you know can go down there and make things happen, which is more important? And that's what people are going to have to decide and have had to decide in this election.
Right. Of course, Donald Trump became a big issue during this race. He seemed to be, everybody's been trying to gravitate to Donald Trump, even the sheriff candidates.
And of course, Donald Trump endorsed Sam Page. Back up. Donald Trump endorsed Phil Berger in this race, which is kind of a surprise to some people, since Sam Page was very much involved in the Trump campaign in 2024. But the president looked him over and made his decision, and Phil Berger was his pick, and that's going to carry some weight too, along with everything else we've been talking about, especially in Rockingham County. And obviously it's a Republican primary, so especially among Republicans, we can't say, we don't know exactly what Donald Trump's endorsement is worth in this race, but we can be sure it's worth quite a bit.
Oh yeah. And Sam, apparently, I think Donald Trump offered Sam a job in Washington to get him to pull out of the race, but that didn't work.
That's right. He was offered a job in Washington, and Sam Page said, no, I'd rather stay here in Rockingham County and maybe even go to Raleigh. He said he wasn't interested in going to Washington, so he didn't. That may or may not have been a factor in the president's decision to endorse Phil Berger. We don't know, but it is true that Sam Page turned down that job in Washington.
And guys, if we want to take a look at the updated numbers, don't forget we've got in the House here, we have Mr. Seth Woodall ahead at 4,235, 4,235. The incumbent Reese Pirtle at 3,025. So quite a lead there, even though it is early for Mr. Woodall. And then the controversial candidate, Mr. Joseph Gibson III, in third place there at 273. So kind of surprising there. Mr. Woodall, he's 1,210 votes ahead currently.
And that's an interesting race, too, Charles. Reese Pirtle, former police chief of Eden, who was appointed to the state House of Representatives initially, and then he won re-election in his first election and running for another term now. Seth Woodall, a local attorney, challenging Pirtle. That campaign has basically been a matter of both of them representing themselves as strong conservatives and as candidates who would follow the conservative line, and of supporters of Donald Trump. So it's been another sort of another inexperienced thing, although not to the degree of the Senate race. Reese Pirtle saying, well, I've been there a whole term now. I've been there a term and a half. I want another term. I've figured out how things work. I'm familiar with what goes on, so you should vote for me. Seth Woodall saying, well, yeah, but I got some great ideas. You should vote for me. And right now it looks like Woodall's argument is carrying the day, at least in the early voting.
And one other thing, too, we don't want to forget to look at the, a lot of people assume that the Republican runner for sheriff will win, but, the Democratic primary obviously is taking place as well. And we have those numbers currently as well. That's Mr. Farrell Jr. with 955, and then Mr. Moore with 1597. So he's stretched out to quite a lead here. Again, these numbers are early. I think we show like 16%, 34% of the precincts having reported. So we still have quite a ways to go.
Well, quite a ways to go, but that's a significant percentage of precincts to have reported. So I think we certainly can get a believable trend from that. And again, the assumption, as he said, Charles, the assumption is that the Republican candidate will be the next sheriff in Rockingham County.
Yep.
The registration numbers would certainly indicate that, but you never know until people vote.
Unless there's something dramatic that happens. Republicans usually win about by like a 65% number, and it seems like that Republican label helps people win. In
Rockingham County, it absolutely does. I mean, the overwhelming majority of people in Rockingham County are registered Republicans. Republicans are strong in Rockingham County. The entire county commission is Republican. So, yeah, Republicans do get a head start in Rockingham County.
Can we take a look at the commissioner race? How that's coming?
Sure. Do you have those numbers up there?
Danny?
We don't have a graphic for those numbers, but we can take a look at the updated numbers that we currently have.
Put this phone on.
Meanwhile, while we wait for that, the latest numbers from the state Senate race. This is with 3 of 48 precincts reporting. Sam Page, 6,507. Phil Berger, 5,807. So it's about a 5-point lead for Sam Page right now. That's with 3 of 48 precincts having reported.
I do think Seth Woodall, with the early numbers coming in, looking a little stronger than Reese Purtle, might be a surprise to some people.
Well, it might be because Reese Purtle also has incumbency on his side, and it's kind of conventional wisdom in politics that the incumbent always has an advantage, but doesn't always win. But you always are, at least I am always a little bit surprised when I see an incumbent trailing, especially this far into the count with about a third of the votes having been counted. So I would agree. That's a little bit of a surprise right there.
When we go back to the Rockingham County Sheriff's race, the Republicans, the 3 that are running, who's winning now?
All right. Well, let me see if I can dial that up.
Billy Parker. One of the things he talked about was he had the most experience. And one of the things I thought was interesting is that his opponents never challenged that. That was one of the things he was able to run on and not be challenged on. Darren Wright was a good speaker. When we were out covering, he seemed like he was fit for the job, ready to roll, and so forth. I think Darren. I mean, I think all 3 candidates really want the job, but Darren seemed to, because he's ran as a independent and all kind of things. He's really tried hard to get that job. And so that's why I'm kind of curious just to see how those numbers are looking.
All right, well, here they are. Right now, it is Billy Parker, 5,750 votes. Darren Wright, 4,661, and Brian Harbour, 2,888. So it's a pretty healthy lead for Billy Parker at this point. And that is with, Charles, here it is, that's with 14 out of 14 precincts reporting. So based on that, this race is over and Billy Parker has won it.
So we heard from all of the Rockingham County precincts now?
It says 14 out of 14. I guess that would be all.
Okay. Well, let's look at, if we can, let's go to commissioners now too. So it looks like you're saying with that, Billy Parker is going to be the next sheriff.
Well, he's going to be the Republican candidate.
That's right. That's right. Because he's got to get to November. Yeah.
All right. Board of Commissioners, all these, Charles, are with 14 out of 14 reporting. So it looks like they've finished counting the vote in Rockingham County. So let's look at the Rockingham County commissioners. The top 2 will be elected. And here's maybe a surprise. Number 1 vote getter is Kevin Southard, one of Sam Page's former deputies. Kevin Southard, 6,577 votes. Greg Ziegler is second with 5,469. Houston Barrow, running for re-election to the county commission, is in third place, 4,801. Charlie Hall, 4,020. Lee Shelton, 1,348. Paul C. Wilson, 915. So based on these numbers, Kevin Southard and Greg Ziegler have won election to the county commission. And based on these numbers, Houston Barrow, who was a supporter of the casino, is out.
All right, let's go to Clerk of Superior Court. See who, that's Abner Bullens and
Okay, the
Abner
winner
Bullens,
there
he's in
is
the
Abner. That's Abner M. Bullens has won that primary with 7,415 votes, and Kelly Stanfield Carter 5,447. So Abner Bullens wins that by 15 percentage points.
wow.
The
Now,
Democratic.
last time she ran as an independent, but it apparently changing to the Republican wasn't enough for her.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
As far as the Democratic primary for sheriff, Franklin Moore will be the Democratic candidate. He has won the primary with 2,818 votes to 1,599 for John Farrell Jr. So on the ballot for sheriff, it'll be Republican Billy Parker against Democrat Franklin Moore.
All right, let's go to school board if we can.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to look for that one. You don't have that one in front of you. Hang on.
I can help you out with that, guys. Ken, that's right under the Board of Commissioners, the Rockingham County Board of Education.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you. Now I see it. Kimberly McMichael is the top vote getter there with 9,138 votes. Philip Butler with 8,652, and Kimberly Thompson Hairston, 6,784. Those three are elected to the Board of Education. Cynthia Penaloza finishes fourth with 3,699, but winning seats on the Board of Education, Kimberly McMichael, Philip Butler, and Kimberly Thompson Hairston. That's with 14 out of 14 precincts reporting.
All right. Now, I guess in Rockingham County, we know who won as far as the Senate seat. Did Rockingham County carry it for Sam Page? It did, didn't it? So far?
Well, we don't know. Let me get back to, I'll have to change pages here to get back to that total district vote. I doubt that we have enough votes yet to make a call on that.
No, but just well, I want to see if Rockingham County chose Sam Page.
Oh, all right.
Is there a way to do that?
There is a way to do that. So hang on a second.
I can get those numbers for you. Sam Page in Rockingham County, 9,009 votes. Phil Berger, 4,500. So that's 66% of the votes went to Sam Page. 33% of the votes went to Mr. Berger.
Well, that's not a surprise, Charles, is it?
No, but I guess what we got to answer is Guilford County going to be enough to get Berger reelected, or will Guilford go with Sam? Do we know how many precincts have voted or that we are counting in Guilford yet?
The last I looked, it was 3 out of a total of 48 precincts had reported there. So I'm working now to get back to that page because I moved over to the local race page for those other races. So just bear with me for a second. All right, I'm seeing, as Danny mentioned, Sam Page got twice as many votes in Rockingham County as Phil Berger received. But Charles, if you can just keep things going for just a second while
Absolutely.
I get back to that other page.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be really interesting to see how this balances out tonight. Obviously, a lot more precincts in Guilford, and obviously we hadn't heard from as many, but it looks like we've heard.
In Guilford County, Mr. Berger is leading 3,203. Sam Page 1,429. So it's actually kind of flip-flopped. He's carrying 69% of the votes so far there, and it looks like we have 18% of the precincts having reported. That's 30 out of 165.
So that's about a lead of about 1,000 votes in Guilford County. Is that right?
Little, yeah, it's 1,500. Yeah, it's a little bit.
All right. So at least at this point, that does not overcome Sam Page's, 4,500 vote advantage in Rockingham County.
That would be correct. Still, the numbers that I'm seeing is the total is 10,438 for Mr. Page, 7,703. And if you want to, if you guys want to go over the finalized Rockingham numbers, we do have all of
Sure.
the numbers up. So if you want to hit those races again.
Okay, Charles, you want to do that?
I can't see them here. Only thing I can see is you.
Oh, okay. Well, then again, bear with me a second then. So let me.
Maybe not. Let me see here. Let me see if I can. No, I can only see you right now, Ken.
Well, I'm certainly a good thing to see, but that is that is not what we really need to see at this moment. So just hang on and let me navigate back over there. Okay, Rockingham County Board of Commissioners. The top two are elected, and the top two are Kevin Southard with 6,577 votes and Greg Ziegler with 5,469 votes. Not reelected, Houston Barrow at 4,801. Charlie Hall has 4,020. Lee Shelton, 1,348. Paul Wilson, 915. Rockingham County Board of Education, three are elected, and they are Kimberly McMichael with 9,138 votes, Philip Butler with 8,652, and Kimberly Thompson Hairston with 6,784 votes. Those three elected to the Board of Education. Unsuccessful is Cynthia Penalosa with 3,699. Rockingham County Clerk of Superior Court, the winner is Abner Bullens with 7,415 votes, defeating Kelly Stanfield Carter with 5,447 votes. In the sheriff's primaries, in the Republican primary, the winner is Billy Parker with 5,750, finishing second, Darren Wright with 4,661, and in third place, Brian Harbour with 2,888 votes. Billy Parker will be the Republican candidate for sheriff in the fall. In the Democratic primary, the winner is Franklin Moore. He got 2,818 votes to 1,599 for John Farrell Jr. So, Charles, it is Billy Parker, Republican, and Franklin Moore, Democrat, who will be the candidates for sheriff in the fall.
All right. If we go back to the House seat with Seth Woodall and Reese Pirtle, I know we've got 14 of those precincts that have already reported. As far as I do believe that district also includes Guilford, but just in Rockingham, how does it match up?
It doesn't. That Guilford, that district is 100% Rockingham County. There are no Guilford voters in that one. So the Rockingham County total is the total, and Seth Woodall has won that primary. This is with 14 of 14 precincts in. Seth Woodall's 7,615 votes to Reese Pirtle, who was the incumbent, 5,183. So Charles and Joseph Gibson III picked up 458. Charles, not only did Seth Woodall win, he won by a wide margin, about an 18%, which is always kind of surprising when an incumbent loses, certainly by that margin.
Right. And you wonder if this is going to play into even like the Burger situation. Maybe people are tired of incumbents.
Well, maybe. I know, well, I won't say that. People may well be tired of incumbents, but still, be that as it may, in almost every election, the overwhelming majority of elections, when an incumbent runs, an incumbent wins. This, of course, is an exception to that. So perhaps in Rockingham County, particularly, somebody has decided, well, we don't want, let's get somebody new in there. So that might have been a factor here.
When it comes to the commissioner race, I do watch Houston Barrow. He might got caught up in that casino controversy. That may have cost him.
I think you're right. I think a lot of folks, a lot of office holders miscalculated exactly how strongly the people of Rockingham County would react to that casino, because it would have brought, at least based on what we were told, it would have brought 1,700 jobs to the county. It would have brought, based on their projections, millions and millions of dollars in revenue to the county. It would have brought tourists to the county. It would have been, as it was described by the supporters, an economic windfall
All
for
right,
the
guys,
county.
sorry to interrupt, but we have an update on the Sam Page Phil Berger numbers. Phil Berger at 8,278. Sam Page picks up some more votes. He is now 10,704. So it's the gap has closed a little bit, but Mr. Page still with a healthy lead.
That is with almost, not quite half, 21 out of 48 precincts reporting in that race. Sam Page with healthy lead, 2,500 point lead there with almost half the precincts reporting. Getting back to what you were saying, Charles, I think a lot of incumbents on the Board of Commissioners have been nervous ever since the casino thing. Well, it sort of blew up in their faces. I don't think they expected that.
I think you're right. And if you watch Southard and Ziegler, because I watched them out on the campaign trail, they would let you know that they thought it was the voters' decision, not theirs. That they said that the voters should vote on it, not the commissioners. So that was their stance on it. And Ziegler would make like a stump speech saying that his daddy was a gambler and he was against gambling. So if it was his decision, he would vote against it, but he thought it ought to be put on a referendum. So it looks like the folks that were running on the campaign trail used that as a way to kind of get away from that issue.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right about that. And I think maybe if we could talk to the members of the county commission who received it the way they received it at the time, many of them might say, you know, I wish we had. I wish we had left it up to the voters instead of doing it the way we did it. And we don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be at all shocked if that's one of the reasons that Houston Barrow will no longer sit on the county commission. Is that also hurting Phil Berger? We don't know, but we do know that Phil Berger is behind right now. Sam Page, with almost half the precincts in the district reporting, Sam Page has over 56% of the vote. Phil Berger just under 44% of the vote. And right now, Charles, that's not close.
Not right now, but I still think this is going to be interesting. But is Guilford helping? Guilford seems to be helping Berger out. I mean, he seems he's winning. Is he still winning Guilford?
Well, he would be, because Sam Page had about 4,500 vote advantage in Rockingham County. His total advantage right now is 2,500. So a quick mathematical calculation tells us that Berger is running about 2,000 votes ahead so far in Guilford County.
Yeah.
And again, that's with 21 of 48 precincts reporting. And let's also note, Charles, and this is important to note too, all of the Rockingham County precincts have reported. All of them, all 14. So everything that's left to be counted in that race is in Guilford County. That's 27 precincts out, all of them in Guilford County.
I expect the Berger campaign is glad that all the Rockingham County votes have been counted, so it will work maybe to their advantage with the Guilford numbers. I do know that they plan to be set up at the Penthouse in Reidsville. That's where they're going to have their speeches and so forth. If I have enough time, get down there and see if I can talk to some folks. But we got to wait to see what happens here first.
Well, I have to believe that the Berger campaign knew that it was in trouble in Rockingham County. Yeah. I'm sure they knew that. In fact, if we go back and look at when this district was redrawn, it was redrawn with majority votes in Guilford County. And you have to wonder, and maybe we don't have to wonder, maybe it's obvious, that when they redrew that district, they redrew it so that when Phil Berger ran for re-election, he would not be relying entirely on Rockingham County to get reelected, because I think they knew that Sam Page was going to be a tough nut to crack in Rockingham County. So they increased the number of Guilford County voters who were in District 26 when they redrew that district. So whether that's going to work for Phil Berger or not, we don't know. We'll know when another 27 precincts report.
Right. They have to be a little nervous in the Berger camp.
I'm sure they've been nervous ever since Sam Page entered the race. They have to have been nervous. In fact, they were nervous beforehand, because I think it stands to reason that that's why they put more Guilford County voters into the district, to make it a little more favorable for Phil Berger. So no, there's no question that they are nervous right now. As more precincts come in, they might get a little less nervous, or they might get more nervous. But right now, we still have just that 21 out of 48.
It's been a fascinating race to cover. It really started in Christmas. All that going on with Trump and the back and forth. I remember the lady coming down and knocking on Sam Page's door and asking him not to run. I also remember covering the forum that the GOP put on, and Phil Berger said that Sam Page's campaign was bought and paid for by Democrats, and that they should be concerned about that, and that the Democrats wanted to get Phil Berger out of there, and that's what this was all about.
Well, I certainly don't doubt that. As far as the funding, it's not entirely clear how much of Sam Page's funding came from Democrats. A lot of it did. I don't think there's any question. There's certainly a significant amount of Sam Page's funding came from Democrats. Exactly how much, I don't know. We really can't figure out exactly how much it was. Yeah. But I mean, that's a common thing. That's an old story in politics. If one party identifies a powerful member of another party that they'd like to go away, and I'm sure that's how Democrats have been looking at Phil Berger, then they'll draw money and they will support a challenger to that powerful member of the other party. And I don't have any doubt that the Democrats have done that in this race. On the other hand, most of the money that has been spent for Phil Berger, or depending on how you want to look at it, you could say most of the money that's been spent against Sam Page has come, at least a lot, I don't say most, a lot of it has come from the leadership of the Republican Party. This True NC True Conservatives organization that has donated so much money to Phil Berger, that was founded by a high officer in the Republican Party. So from the standpoint of Sam Page, he wakes up every morning and sees these negative commercials running about him and knows that it's Republicans who are paying for those commercials. Don't know how that makes him feel. Probably all will be forgiven once the primary is over. That's normally the way it works. But certainly the Democrats have been funding Sam Page, and the Republican Party has been trying to defeat one of its own. The Democrats have been also trying to defeat the Republican Party spending against Sam Page. But so far, it looks like he's overcome all of it, at least with not quite half the vote counted.
And of course, I don't think we'll ever forget the Dirty Sam commercials. Remember those?
Oh, the Shady Sam commercials.
Shady Sam, yeah.
Yeah,
that didn't seem to work.
I hope I can forget them. I'm not a fan of negative advertising in politics. Unfortunately, that's how it's done these days. Yeah. And certainly those were. Well, I don't know how effective they were. Obviously, they were not very effective in Rockingham County because Sam Page got twice as many votes. Maybe they worked in Guilford, or maybe a lot of people like me just hit the mute button whenever they started. That's what I did.
Well,
I don't
I
know.
can tell you back to the sheriff's race that we believe that Billy Parker is the winner. Well, they will go into the election in November on that. But during the sheriff campaign, they talked about some of the problems in the jail because the jail in Rockingham County seems to have some problems. I think they've had a lot of inmates that have killed themselves and or committed suicide there, and that became an issue during the sheriff's race. And I thought it was interesting that it never came up during the Senate race, but they wanted it to, but it never did.
Well, it came up. The only place it came up was in the ads. Of course, it was in a lot of the anti-Sam Page ads.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, Sam Page himself didn't talk about it very much, if he talked about it at all.
Yeah, he did a lot of that during the campaign. He didn't want to talk about Berger seniority, and he didn't want to talk about that. Those are he would just smile a lot.
Well, of course, that's how they run campaigns. I
Right.
mean, I'm sure Sam Page has a professional consultant telling him what to do and what not to do. Don't know who it is, but he certainly has one. And the first thing the consultant will tell you is don't acknowledge the negative attacks. Don't acknowledge once you start reacting, once you start trying to explain these things, then you're losing. So don't even bring it up. Just ignore it, let it go by, and that's what Page did.
He did comment.
Numbers.
Okay.
When take a look at these, it appears now what's happening is that these smaller precincts are now trickling in. Very small numbers the last two updates. Mr. Page now at 10,847, Mr. Berger at 8,816. So still a sizable lead, but there's definitely room for him to catch up with what's left. But I don't know how many votes are actually going to be in these specific precincts. It does appear that we have 64% of the precincts having reported, but I don't know if there's going to be enough votes cast in the remaining precincts for him to catch up.
Oh, we don't know. To begin with, we can't say exactly how many registered voters are in those precincts, and the main thing we don't know is how many of them voted. What was the turnout in those precincts? But that's a big lead, with about roughly half the vote counted so far. That's a big lead, an 11-point lead, 10,847 to it's 55% to 44%. It's not an impossible lead to overcome, but Charles, it's an uphill climb.
Right. I would expect if you're in the Page camp right now, they're smiling, saying "Wow." But we still have more precincts to count here, so it's going to be interesting. But you're right, 11% is pretty good. Let's face it, Page isn't. He's new at this. He's not the incumbent. Yeah.
And again, turnout today, I haven't seen any definite reports on turnout today, but Charles, based on all that I heard, and it's all anecdotal, but it seemed like turnout today was very, very, very strong for a primary election, maybe stronger turnout than we've seen in a primary election in quite a long time around here. So people were engaged. Turnout's always low in a primary, but this year it might not be quite so low as it normally is.
And I would say that affected the other races. That was something they had to deal with all those numbers going out there. Excuse me.
About 64% of the vote counted, as Danny mentioned. That's in the total District 26, and that is 25 Guilford County precincts yet be counted, and a sizable lead for Sam Page. If he wins, Charles, it'll be, I don't know. I'm trying to remember the last time somebody who had been in the General Assembly for as long as Phil Berger left by losing a leg. Most of them leave by retirement, or most of them at some point decide to become a lobbyist and not run for office anymore. It's hard to remember the last time somebody with this track record and this level of experience was voted out. I can't bring one to mind at the moment. This would be extremely unusual.
And I would say it will probably make national news too.
It'll certainly make national news. This will be one of those that makes national news simply because of the stature. Now, and let's back up. Let's don't assume. Let's not assume. It almost sounds like we're saying it's not over yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not nearly over yet.
Yeah.
We're just saying if it stays this way, it'll make national news because it'd be very unusual for somebody of the stature of Phil Berger to lose an election. Not that he's lost it yet.
Yeah, and of course, what will probably make it national news more than anything is the fact that Donald Trump endorsed Phil Berger.
I was going to ask
Well, yeah.
that Mr. Page would have any animosity towards not being the pick towards President Trump.
Probably not. If he did, he'll keep it to himself. So it's not the kind of thing in a situation like this. If you are Sam Page, and if you win this election, you could, on the one hand, you could say, well, the president didn't endorse me. I'll fix him. And the Republicans spent all this money to try to defeat me. I'll show them. But that is not the way you want to start your career in the General Assembly. You want to go to Raleigh as a good, loyal Republican. You don't want to bear any grudges against the Republicans who campaigned against you. And you don't want to bear any grudges against the president who supported the other candidate. Now, does he feel any animosity? Maybe, maybe not. But if he does, he's definitely not going to express it, I don't think.
One of the things that I thought was interesting in the campaign, that Sam Page kind of aligned himself with the ROCO group, the grassroots group. He didn't want to publicly be seen at the GOP gatherings. It was the Craig Travis group and that he seemed to want to hang around. And it may have paid off for him because he obviously had a heavy victory there. But he did not want to be seen to. I remember after I left a GOP meeting, somebody snapped a picture of Sam Page. He showed up after I left. I'm telling you, Sam Page has been running from Star News during this whole race. I'm not sure exactly why, but the last time it was when I was in Eden, there at the polls, Sam said he had to run off to Greensboro and didn't have time to talk to him. I mean, you're right. The campaign folks did not want me to ask those questions about the seniority.
And that brings up another question that I'm curious about, because Mr. Eccles has had callers on his show that have said they haven't seen very many Sam Page signs throughout the Guilford area. So how much he appears to be doing, well enough in that area, how much campaigning do you think he actually did in the Guilford community?
I don't know the answer to that exactly. Charles, did you cover him in Guilford County? Did you do any events in Guilford that you covered?
No, I didn't. I mainly covered in Rockingham County. That's the places I saw him.
I'm going to say, without knowing, and I say stuff I don't know all the time, so I'm no need to hesitate now. I'm going to say that he probably campaigned quite a bit in Guilford County because I'm sure he was confident. I expect he was pretty confident that he'd win, that he'd run strong in Rockingham County, and certainly he did events here. His goal in Guilford County would have been, and this is what his consultant would have told him. His goal in Guilford County would have been just don't get killed in Guilford County. You're going to have a big cushion in Rockingham, a cushion enough that you won't necessarily have to win. You don't have to win in Guilford County. You just don't want to get flattened in Guilford County. So I imagine he campaigned in Guilford County to the extent that he did, about as much as they thought he needed to just get a respectable vote total over there. Because surely he was counting on a big win in Rockingham to get him through, and maybe just a respectable showing in Guilford. Well, he got the big win in Rockingham. He certainly got that. And so far, it looks like he's running respectably well in Guilford, although there's still a whole lot more votes to be counted.
Let's go over some of the other numbers real quickly while we're waiting. I think the biggest number is for sheriff, Billy Parker. Looks like he is going to be headed to the November election, and of course he'll have to still deal with the Democrat, the folks that won in the Democrat. As far as who won there, Ken, can you elaborate on that?
I can do that. Just give me a short amount of time here to navigate back to the proper page here on the State Board of Elections website. And okay, just I'm gonna need a little bit of time, Charles.
Looks like Abner Bullins will return to his job as clerk of court. He had interesting commercials that aired on Star News that showed his employees pretty much endorsing him. It was a very jovial campaign. The only negative part of that campaign was during the forum where Steenfeld Parker would question his credibility and the way he ran the office and the way he worked with the computer system. But obviously it wasn't enough. She ran as an independent the last election, and that didn't work. So this was kind of like a last-ditch effort for her to run as a Republican and just see what she could pull off, and it obviously didn't pay off.
Well, the sheriff's race that you were asking about, Charles, here are those numbers. In the Republican primary for sheriff, Billy Parker won it with 5,750 votes. Darren Wright was in second place with 4,661, and Brian Harbour was the third place finisher, 2,888 votes. Billy Parker is the nominee for sheriff for the Republicans. And he will go up against the Democrat, Franklin Moore. Franklin Moore won the Democratic primary, 2,818 votes to 1,599 votes for John Farrell Jr. So that's your race to replace Sam Page as Rockingham County Sheriff. Billy Parker against Franklin Moore. That clerk of court race that you mentioned, the total there, 74-15 for Abner Bullins. To 54-47 for Kelly Stanfield Carter. Abner Bullins will be the clerk of Superior Court.
During his campaign, on his commercial, he said he was a real Republican. He was kind of making fun of his opponent because she ran as an independent of the last race. So he was kind of having a little fun with that. The Bullins campaign used humor the whole time. I remember when we were covering the parade in the old league in Draper. He won the best in pride. He was the one who said that that he was the happiest guy there. He actually won that award because they give out awards and so forth. He had a colorful jacket on, and the whole office, a lot of the office was riding the float, and he made a lot of live events with his whole office staff to kind of show that they were united as a staff. So
well, if he was happy at the parade, I dare say he's still happy right now, because he has won re-election to his job as clerk of court. Charles, let's run down the Board of Commissioners vote tonight as well in Rockingham County. Top two vote getters win, and they are Kevin Southard, 6,577 votes, and Greg Ziegler, 5,469 votes. Commissioner Houston Barrow comes in third place, 4,801. Charlie Hall, 4,020. Lee Shelton, 1,348. And Paul C. Wilson, 915. So it is Kevin Southard, a former sheriff's deputy who worked for Sam Page, and Greg Ziegler, who wins seats on the Rockingham County Board of Commissioners.
I think Houston Barrow losing is one of the biggest shocks of the night.
It is and it isn't. Again, if you get back to the casino thing, I think that casino controversy threw a monkey wrench into everything. In a year without the casino, chances are we would have seen incumbents winning, holding their seats, as they almost always do. But that casino, that changed a lot of people, probably changed the way a lot of people voted, in my opinion.
I agree with you. But one of the things that, it's, if you just go 25 miles up the road to Danville, how that city council embraced the casino, even with preachers on the council. And now they're making more money with the casino than they even thought they were.
They're making a fortune. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The city of Danville is making a fortune from that casino.
And 85% of that revenue was coming from across state lines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all. And of course, that was the emphasis behind the idea of getting a casino in Rockingham County. The theory was, well, all these people are driving from Charlotte, they're driving from Greensboro, driving from all over to get to Danville. They're coming right through Rockingham County. Why don't we stop them here, and then we'll get the money? That obviously appealed very strongly to politicians. Didn't appeal all that strongly to the people in Rockingham County, but that was the idea, and it would have brought in money. I don't think anybody questions that it would have brought in money, but people were saying, well, yeah, but it's going to bring in stuff we don't want also, so we don't want it. Now, was it really dead? Questioned about it. Phil Berger had said several times that it was a dormant issue. I don't know if he ever said it was a dead issue. He said it was a dormant issue. And dormant is not dead. So I think a lot of people thought, and maybe still think, that Phil Berger could bring up the casino thing again, and that almost certainly cost him some votes.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Eccles. If you have, and maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me here, but Mr. Pirtle ran after the casino controversy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so why do you think that Mr. Woodall won so resoundingly tonight? What was the issue there?
I can only guess at that. And I'll take a guess, and it may be completely wrong. People were upset with Phil Berger over the casino, and I think the vote total in Rockingham County showed that. So I think it's not a great leap to imagine that somebody who goes to the polls, they're upset with Phil Berger over the casino, and they say, oh, yeah, Reese Pirtle, he was down there. He's been down there in Raleigh with Phil Berger, too. Maybe we'll just vote him out, too. Is that what happened? I don't know. That's a guess, but it's the guess that I would make. If just the association with the association with incumbency. This is a case where incumbency maybe was not an advantage because of the bad feeling about the casino.
I believe Seth Woodall has sought other office in North Carolina. Maybe he hadn't won, but I believe that this is not his first rodeo at running. It might be his first victory.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
He's ran for other positions. I'm not sure exactly all the positions he's ran for, but this one was one that he was successful at. I believe the last time he ran it, he tried a statewide attempt, and of course, Sam Page did that too, and it didn't pay off too well. So Sam Page has been looking for something to do other than be sheriff.
Well, yes, Sam Page ran for lieutenant governor and did not do well at all. But this is entirely, lieutenant governor is a statewide position, and you got to name recognition and all the stuff that you need, the money to run a statewide campaign. A lot easier to run a campaign in a district that's one county and then just a slice of another county. But who knows? We may yet see Sam Page run for something higher in the future.
Another thing is that Sam Page has done pretty well with not having a big campaign budget. He didn't spend a lot of money. The Berger campaign really was spending money to fight for this campaign. But Sam Page didn't have that much money to spend. I mean, you even hear the folks where there wasn't even enough Sam Page signs to go around.
Right.
So
we've got some updated numbers, guys.
Okay.
We've had 2 more precincts report. We're now up to 78%, it looks like. Ken, if you want to double check that, but we have Mr. Page now at 11,604 and Berger with 10,491. And it looks like he's closing the gap a little bit, but the amount of precincts that are left to come in are slim, and it does not appear that the total of votes coming from each of these precincts. So obviously we don't know the size of the precincts, the registered voters, but it's looking like it looks like he's narrowing the gap, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time left to do it.
Right. I'm working to get those numbers in front of me right now. Bear with me a little. So, Charles, is that how it looks? It's getting a little closer.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely getting closer, but
well, the percentages we're looking at now is 52% to 47%, and at one time I think that was as high as 69%, or at least 66% for sure. So with each precinct that reports, it looks like Mr. Berger is picking up votes, and he's behind now. I have to check the math, but he's behind now a little over or a little under 1,100 votes. So I mean, he's definitely within distance. This is going to be very, very close. But the thing that sticks out to me is just the amount of votes that are reported per precinct. They're very small, a couple of hundred at most. So it's just going to be difficult to catch up.
All right, and bear with me. I have had a little bit of a struggle here again. All right, now I have. Yeah, that's definitely closer than it was. About a 1,200 vote margin now. And as you correctly pointed out, 78.5% of the vote has been counted. So we have 14 precincts remaining. 14 precincts remaining. And Sam Page leading by a bit under 1,200 votes in that race. So that's definitely tighter than it was. It was a 2,500 vote margin a few precincts ago. So it's getting closer, and Charles, 14 precincts left. This could be a horse race yet.
No doubt, and it's getting close enough that if it gets super close, we might have a recount. I mean, that's the kind of thing these nail biters can build up to. So
recount's certainly a possibility. If they finish within 1%, if the two totals are within 1% of one another, then they are entitled to a recount. And who knows? It could happen.
Yeah. Wow.
So right now, Sam Page continuing to lead, but still quite a few votes to be counted.
We don't know exactly how many, because we don't know how many people vote.
No, we don't know how many people live in them. We don't know which precincts they are to begin with, so there's no way we could know how many.
That's left and more than cover. That's the thing we don't know. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Now
Guilford covers Greensboro. I mean, let's talk about all the territory we're talking about here.
Okay, it's a strip in northwestern Guilford County. It isn't Greensboro. It's not that part of Guilford County. It's a strip of precincts along the northern border, right along the county line, just across into Guilford County. And even though it is geographically a very small part of Guilford County, it's actually more voters. The more people live in that strip of Guilford County than live in all of Rockingham County. So that's why there are more potential voters in Guilford County, even though it's just a very small percentage of the total area of the county. And again, we don't know exactly how many, but among 14 precincts, it just intuitively, you can look at that and you can see it would be enough. It certainly would be enough to erase that 1,200 point lead or 1,200 vote lead that Sam Page has, depending on how strongly these precincts vote for Berger or if they vote for Berger. So this could get interesting.
No doubt. You made the point that Sam Page spent a lot of time in Guilford. I believe Phil Berger did too, because he knew that was where he needed to make the grass greener.
Oh yeah,
So
I think you're absolutely right about that. And again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That's why they included that much of Guilford County in the district when they redrew it, to increase Phil Berger's chances of winning re-election. And there's no doubt that he worked very hard in Guilford County, because if he's going to win, that's where he has to win.
yeah, you can almost feel the water dripping. it's can you imagine what it's like to be inside these camps right now? If you're in Page's camp, you're losing points, and Berger, you're gaining, but are you going to gain enough?
Well, I've been in political campaign. I've been candidate headquarters on election nights quite a few times over the years. In the old days, there was a blackboard. I doubt there are many blackboards anymore. I think those have probably gone away. But in the old days, there'd be a huge blackboard at one end of the room, and there'd be somebody with a piece of chalk, obviously, and somebody else running results to the guy with the chalk. And then the guy with the chalk would put the numbers up, and then he'd erase the old numbers and put the new numbers up. And you could read the crowd, because almost everybody in the crowd, except for the ones of us who were there covering it, everybody in the crowd would be in favor of, obviously, the candidate whose headquarters this was. And you could hear crowds going up and down. So they'd put up numbers that looked good for their candidate, and they're laughing and they're joking and they're having a drink. And then suddenly a number goes up that doesn't look so good, and now they're depressed, and they're still having a drink, but now they're having a drink because they're depressed, not because they're happy. But it was always an interesting thing to see. Of course, all that's computerized now, so the blackboards and the chalk are gone. But you're right, it is very interesting to be in a campaign headquarters when a race is undecided. When they're 2/3 of the way, and this is 3/4 of the way through the race, and are still not sure how it's going to come out. It gets tense, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Let me point out we've now had another precinct report, but no update for our candidates that we're looking at here. So I guess not all of the precincts left have
Okay.
a report.
Yeah, I'm showing 34 out of 48. Has that been updated?
That's not how I see. I see it as 79%.
All right, and I see that. I see 79.26% reported.
That's what I'm.
And yeah, that's right. And then it's 34 out of 48.
Okay, 34 out of 48. You all were talking, and it made me think. Now, Sheriff Page has run for lieutenant governor. Now he's running for office where he has, I guess, more local voters rather than a statewide campaign. Do you think that he plans on running for higher office? Is this a stepping stone to higher office, or do you think this is the the climax of what he's looking to do for the rest of his career?
Well, that's a good question. He certainly would not describe it as a stepping stone. And as you say, he has shown a desire in the past to serve in higher office. But again, something else to consider here is Sam Page is now 70. Has he turned
Yeah.
71 yet? He's around 70 years old. And if he wins tonight, he wins a 4-year term in the state Senate. He would be around 74 when that was over. I don't know if at this point, and I certainly can't speak for him, but I don't know if at this point he would be a guy who wants to keep running political campaigns into his late 70s. I don't know. That certainly would be a factor, though, I would have to believe.
One of the things I think Sam Page likes running. He runs his whole, even as long as he's been sheriff, he still campaigns. You know,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So he loves it. I do think we have interest. Mark Shillery told me that Sam Page won his first sheriff job, and I think you'll remember this, Ken, when he was at Channel 14. He did a show where the his opponent wouldn't show up, and he sat there and talked about him an hour. Remember that?
I do, yes. In fact, I also remember, you talk about always campaigning. I remember when Sam Page was an Eden police officer. And I had to call the police this is when I lived over in Draper, and somebody tried to steal a bicycle off my porch one night. And I called the police, and Sam Page was the officer who responded. He wasn't even a candidate for office then, but he was. He showed up with a big handshake and a smile on the face. Hey, I'm good to meet you. I'm Sam Page, Eden Police. I'm sorry you've had this difficulty. I'll do everything I can to help you, and I'm happy to know you. I mean, it was almost like he was campaigning for office there. But that's his personality.
I have a Sam Page story. I ran out of gas one time, and Sam Page took me to the gas station and then took me back to put the gas in.
Really?
I mean, yeah. So that's my Sam Page story. So, and I never forget one night we were out in Reedsville, and they were having like a standoff, and he let me move closer to the scene than I thought he would, because he liked he liked the media, he liked the attention. I remember Richard, the Neely Chronicle. I remember he said he was the hardest working sheriff in show business. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sam is now. I'm going to say this, and I say it with all positivity, because somebody's going to hear this and think I'm insulting Sam Page. I'm not.
You better not do that.
I'm not insulting him. He is in many ways a born politician. It sounds like a bad thing to say, but it's not. He's gregarious. He likes to meet. He likes to talk to people. He likes to shake hands with people. He likes to have conversations with people, which all these are qualities that a politician ought to have. And it's in that sense I say he's kind of a born politician, not in the negative sense. So don't anybody misinterpret that. But that's how, ever since I met him first when he was an Eden police officer, that's how he's been. And he just appeals to people. He likes to interact with people.
I even noticed on his billboards he kept his cowboy hat on there.
Oh, he loves cowboy hat.
The cowboy hat. That's kind of like it's come like a logo for him. Or
well, hey, even in the Shady Sam commercials, he had the cowboy hat on.
right.
We're up to 80% now, 80.9% precincts reported. It says, and in Guilford County, it's still showing that's 34 out of 48. And also the vote total hasn't changed. Is Sam Page still up by, let's do some math here, 1,113 votes is the margin right now, by which Sam Page is leading Phil Berger, with 14 precincts still out there.
Do you think that any of those 4 precincts have, well, let's just look at it like this. Do you think that all of those precincts together have 1,100 votes?
Oh, no, that's a good question. It's an excellent question. I don't know. The precincts in Guilford County will necessarily have more folks in them than precincts in Rockingham County. So let's look at it this way. There are 14 precincts left to report. 14 is the total number of precincts in Rockingham County. So how many votes came in those 14 Rockingham County precincts? I want to say it was about 13,000, wasn't it? Was it like 9,000 to 4,500 was the total? So let's say 14 or 15,000 votes were in those 14 Rockingham County precincts. If the numbers were similar, then there'd be 14 or 15,000 in those 14 Guilford County precincts. But we're just speculating there. We don't know that for sure. But the point is, there are probably at least 10,000 votes still out there.
All right, so you think it's possible that the way it looks right now, it could be a flip-flop at the end. So it's still
It could.
possible.
I mean, just for the sake of discussion, let's say there are 10,000 votes still to be counted. If you got an 1,100 vote margin, then if there are 10,000 votes to be counted, if Phil Berger got say 5,800 of those votes, and Sam Page got 4,200, that would put Phil Berger ahead. So, I mean, it could happen. Again, we don't know those numbers for sure, but it's plausible that it could still change.
Another thing to consider here is the fact that apparently these votes are taking longer to count. We don't know what all those reasons are.
You know, we're accustomed to having Rockingham County have one precinct somewhere that takes until 3 o'clock in the morning to count them. Yeah. We've had that so many times, but congratulations to the County Board of Elections. They got them all in a hurry tonight. So it's Guilford County where they're dragging a little bit. So at least we can complain, but we don't have to complain about a Rockingham County precinct being slow tonight because they got it done.
For those folks that are just joining us, we're still waiting for what's going on with the Senate race here. I think it's fair to say it's a bit of a nail biter for us because the numbers are changing more in Senator Berger's favor right now. But will it be enough to get him back to Raleigh? I'm sure he's wanting the same thing.
I haven't bitten a nail yet, but there certainly is the potential to bite some nails as these numbers come in, because there almost certainly are enough votes still out there that it could change. And it's also pretty obvious that Phil Berger is running stronger than Sam Page in Guilford County. A good deal stronger. So if that trend continues, if there are another 14 precincts, if Berger continues to run stronger in all those precincts, this could end up very, very close. So don't anybody consider this over yet.
And one of the things I'm wondering with this race and the importance of it, are there lawyers looking at both sides right now?
Gosh, everybody's got lawyers up the wazoo. You can count on that. Yeah. I mean, Phil Berger is a lawyer, and he knows a lot of lawyers, and so does Sam Page. I think they probably had to anticipate it. It stands to reason that they would have anticipated that this could end up very close, and it could end up in a recount situation. And whenever you have a recount, you got lawyers. So yeah, everybody's got a lawyer on speed dial, depending on how things go.
And I do know the Republicans they like having folks at the polls to see how things are going as monitors and so forth. Sometimes they don't do much, but just sit and watch to see if everything has been done right. And
and that's fine. I mean, everybody's entitled to have monitors at the polls, and there's a set of state laws and also a couple of federal laws that determine what those monitors can do. And I've voted. I've voted a few times in my day, and I have encountered a few poll monitors in my day. And 100% of all the poll monitors I've ever seen at the polls, they're doing exactly the right thing. They're watching. They can't interfere. They can't follow you. Certainly, they can't follow you to the booth when you fill out the ballot. They can't. I mean, it's a whole list of things they can't do. And I've never seen a poll monitor do that. They do exactly what they're supposed to do, and it's fine. They watch, they monitor, and if they see something that looks wrong, then they go to an election official and they say, "Hey, I saw this guy do that, and I saw this guy do this. Why don't you go over there and check on that?" And that's what they do, and that's what they've always done. And both parties have them. And I think poll monitors are an important part of the process. So they should be there.
No doubt. One of the things that I covered, Craig Travis, who used to be a commissioner, he's got a political group called Grassroots ROCO or ROCO Grassroots or something like that.
Right.
And he was concerned that during the early voting and so forth, that there was a lot of back and forth talk between the folks there with all the paperwork that you go through to get in. Each candidate would have somebody with their
Sure.
sign and say, vote for my man, that kind of thing. But apparently there was some tension between the ROCO group and the GOP group. And he was a little concerned about it. So I do believe that with all this time to vote, the tempers do flare sometimes.
Well, they can, and also in the case of Craig Travis, remember he sued. He filed a couple of lawsuits in connection with his loss of his seat on the county commission.
If you watch Star News, and it's still on top of our Facebook page, he's also being sued from I believe Kevin Berger and another former commissioner for some defamation.
Right. So there is tension between Craig Travis and the Republican Party. And I guess that being the case, it's not too much of a surprise that if they ended up next to each other at a polling place, there might have been some back and forth there too.
Yeah.
But you don't see a lot of that. Of course, there's always people there handing out literature and asking you to vote for this person or that person. You don't often see any tense back and forth between them. But when lawsuits are involved, it's a different story.
That's right. And so we do have another lawsuit out of the primary, and that. But I will say that I know that Craig Travis has filed a motion to have it dismissed. So that's where it stands right now. No trial date yet.
Craig Travis, of course, served on the county commission. I don't remember exactly how many terms. Craig Travis was one of the folks, Charles, you may or may not remember, who was willing to regularly appear with me on Star News when we were still in the studio in Reidsville. He was one of the ones who would come in. He was coming in once a month for a while.
Yeah, he likes it.
And he always enjoyed that, and he always answered questions. He's one of those guys. If you ask him a question, he wouldn't do any tap dancing at all. He would give you a straight answer to a straight question. And we sort of miss that in politics to some extent because, well, as I'm sure you well know, they don't always do that these days.
No. Of course, I've been covering the Martinsville City Council here for the last 2 or 3 years, and that's always been
that's always fun.
Yeah. I mean, I get a kick out of it. It doesn't go bad until like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the meeting, and then it goes wild. I mean, yeah, they start doing this little. Let's hear from the council members, and then it's on. And then we have to spend another 30 minutes trying to figure out what they just did.
What is about Martinsville, Charles, that people get so get so much spit and vinegar in them about city council. It's always been that way.
Well, more so in the last 4 years. I would say the two culprits, Aaron Rawls and Elsie Jones. Of course, that what's so ironic about that is they ran as a team when they ran, but about 6 months into it, they became kind of raw enemies, and it hadn't gotten any worse. And of course, the mayor has now been suspended, and and it was going to have a trial date, but they prolonged that until June because he needed to get a lawyer and get all lawyered up to handle it. He's trying to fight that suspension, and say that he should have his day in court and should not be proven, have to deal with that suspension because he hasn't been proven guilty. So
Guys,
that's going on.
Got a big update here.
Okay.
Good.
Looks like Mr. Berger has caught up quite a bit here. We are very close now. We're almost within that 1 percentage point. 12,675 for Sam Page, 12,326 for.
My goodness. Now, Danny, I don't have, my page has not updated yet. How many precincts remaining?
We show 42 out of 48, so it looks like we have 6 currently left.
Wow.
Can you give us those numbers again?
12,675 for Sam Page, 12,326. So,
Oh yeah, that just hit on my page, Danny. So that is 300 and
exactly
59
votes.
votes.
Exactly.
Yep.
1 percentage point.
So, and that is with 4 precincts left to be reported. So if we were imagining, and it looks like we might have been about right, if we were imagining 10,000 votes in 14 precincts, then that would mean maybe 4,000 votes, 3,000, 4,000 in those remaining 4 precincts. With a difference of under 400 votes. Hey, Charles, it is time to start biting your nails.
I told you.
It's definitely nail biting time now because this is a contest.
How much in between? How much we got in between them?
That is 375 plus 64. That's just a little over 400 votes. So it's basically tied. Essentially, they're in a tie right now for all intents and purposes. As Danny said, it's within a percentage point.
Right.
With 4 precincts left.
Actually, exactly 1 percentage point right now.
So that tells us that to date, to this point, Berger is winning Guilford County by about over 4,000 votes now, because Sam Page won Rockingham by over 4,500. So Berger's winning Guilford by about 4,500, and it's even right now.
I'll see if I can I think I have those numbers handy, so we can take a look again at Rockingham and see what that was too. It looks like, oh yes, so. It actually looks like they're carrying. I think Sam Page won Rockingham at like 69%. We'll go back and verify that. But Phil Berger right now has 68% of the vote in Guilford with 7,826. Sam Page 3,666. So just under 30.
So he's winning. He's winning big in Guilford. Went really big.
And then in Rockingham, Sam Page, 9,009. Phil Berger, 4,500. That was 66% to 33%. So it looks like almost an exact mirror.
Exact mirror. 4,500 margin for Page and Rockingham, and a similar margin for Berger right now in Guilford. Well, you have to speculate, and we'll go ahead and speculate, even though we know. You have to imagine that if Berger is winning by that margin in Guilford County, With those 4 remaining precincts, if he continues, my goodness, if he continues, wins those remaining 4 precincts by that margin, it'll be way more than 1%. It would be outside the recount total. So we'll see. But
So
he
at this point, it's possible that Mr. Berger, anything's possible, at this point. But it's also still possible that Mr. Berger could end up with a resounding victory.
He could. He really could. And this is what I was talking about earlier. You're in the campaign headquarters and all the numbers look good and everybody's happy, and then the numbers change and everybody gets depressed. And I would imagine there are fewer smiles at Sam Page headquarters now than there would have been an hour ago.
Right. And you wonder if they're watching us.
Well, they should be. Who else would they be watching?
Yeah, there's nobody else covering this like as tightly as we are, I don't think.
Even so, I mean, why would anybody not watch us, Charles? The very idea is preposterous.
Right.
So I guess it's interesting if we had the details about which of these particular precincts were still out, and then knowing where Mr. Page and Mr. Berger campaigned, it's, these remaining precincts, it's, obviously Mr. Berger is carrying Guilford, but if those were areas that Mr. Page campaigned in heavily, it could still be a pretty close race here.
Oh, it could indeed. That's why we can't assume anything. Because there would be precincts just based on the expected demographics of precincts. There would be precincts in Guilford that would be stronger for Page and some stronger for Berger. What I mean by that, all those precincts are in northern Guilford County. Some of those precincts are certainly demographically similar to Rockingham County. Some of them, particularly maybe the ones close to, say, Brown Summit in that area, they might be demographically more similar, say, to Greensboro than to Rockingham County. And that, too, would make a difference as to which candidate carries them. So the fact we don't know which precincts they are just keeps us all in the dark. But the only one thing we know for sure is suddenly this is real close.
And I know the Berger campaign is counting on Guilford County for sure. And
well, of course they are. I mean, this was, again, this is why they put that in the district to begin with, because this is where Phil Berger figured he could win.
Yeah. And Sam Page wasn't running for sheriff in Guilford. So.
No, well, Sam Page, he's not unknown in Guilford, but obviously he's not the name in Guilford County that he is in Rockingham County.
Right. One of the things that came up during the campaign, people would say, well, you know what? Phil Berger doesn't even live here anymore. He lives in Raleigh. And of course, Berger said, well, I'm going to go home tonight in my house in Eden. He actually told me that on the campaign trail. Mm-hmm. But when you're Senator Pro Tem, you have to spend a lot of time in Raleigh because you've got to be there.
That's one. Yeah, you put your finger on one of the criticisms of Phil Berger. I had a caller on my show one night, and it was before it wasn't part of this campaign. It was before the campaign even started. It was like a year ago. A caller on my show one night who wanted to know, had there lately been a Phil Berger sighting in Rockingham County? Yeah. I mean, the way he put it, he said, I want to know, has anybody seen Phil Berger in Rockingham County in the last week, the last 6 months, the last year? Has he been seen in Rockingham County? Call and report if you've had a Phil Berger sighting in the county. Nobody called, so I don't know if nobody had seen him or not. But he bought a nice townhouse in Raleigh. I think he has sold that townhouse now. But at one point he had a house in Raleigh, and people would say, well, he doesn't live here, he lives in Raleigh. And we're supposed to have a part-time legislature. The state legislature is not supposed to have full-time members. But you put your finger on it there, Charles. If you are President Pro Tem of the Senate, then you're not a regular legislator. You have a lot of things to do and worry about that a normal member of the Senate doesn't have, and so there would be certainly the need to be in Raleigh more. But there are folks who think that Phil Berger took it a little too far.
Right. One thing there are people in Raleigh probably watching this show right now to see what a nail biter this is, and I just know this is getting a statewide attention. Just how close this race is, and
Yeah,
and-
I can tell you who's probably watching most closely. I
okay.
can't name them, but the people watching most closely are the Republicans in the state Senate who've been there a while, who have some seniority and want to become President
Oh yeah,
pro tem
right. Oh, yeah.
of the Senate. And I guarantee you, if there are Republicans in North Carolina, other than, of course, Sam Page and the people who voted for him, if there are other Republicans who want to see Phil Berger lose, it is those who would be in line to take over the position. And I guarantee you they're counting every vote.
All right, guys,
You're
we
right.
have an update.
Okay.
With 91% of the precincts reporting, and that is 43 out of 48. So that was one more. We still have 5 left. It looks like Sam Page actually picked up that precinct. So the new total is 12,722 to 12,369. Still in the 1% difference there. But the interesting thing is that Sam Page had a lead of 349. Now he has a lead of 354. So he picked up 5 votes total out of that precinct.
Oh wow.
All right, could have been one of those speculative precincts we were talking about that maybe is more demographically similar to Rockingham County than to Guilford. But yeah, he did add a little bit to his edge in that precinct, whichever precinct that was. So it's still a matter of just a few hundred votes. And it's still close because we still have precincts to be reported, but we hope, if luck is with us, those precincts will get reported pretty quickly because we certainly don't have a decision right now.
In both campaigns right now, one thing I can almost promise you, they're saying, what could we have done? What did we not do? Who was the people we didn't reach when it gets this close? It really comes down to, what didn't we not do? What did we forget?
There's always what they call a post-mortem. Well, not all. If you lose by 30 points, there probably isn't one. But if you lose a close race, there's always a post-mortem where they get together with the consultant, and they go over everything they did and everything they didn't do, and they do exactly what you've just said. Here's what we should have done, and we would have won. Next time, we'll know. And somebody's going to be doing that in the next few days. So it is 353 votes, as I counted, 353 vote difference between Page and Berger, with over 91% of the vote counted. And this one still could go either way.
You wonder if that was a district that Sam Page maybe spent some extra time in, because
well, yeah, you wonder. We don't know that. Could be, but obviously it was a precinct that is not in line with most of the precincts, because Berger had been winning by enormous margins all across Guilford County, and suddenly there's one where Sam Page picked up a vote. So there was something about that precinct that was different from most of those precincts in Guilford County. And maybe it is one of those that's right on the border and is in a rural area and really looks and votes like Rockingham County.
Right. And I'm sure the Berger camp is going, what did we not do there? because
Oh, yeah, they'll dissect everything,
Yeah,
absolutely everything, at the end of a race like this. And they'll look at where they campaigned. They'll look at, well, what message did we take to different areas? Where did we go wrong? What question from Charles Rourke should we have answered, and which question should we not have answered? And maybe we shouldn't even talk to Charles Rourke at all. They'll consider all of that stuff.
yeah, yeah. One thing I was wondering, why don't they just build a damn casino in Raleigh? You know.
That's been discussed.
Yeah.
It actually has. But the reason Rockingham County was to catch the people who drive to Danville.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was the idea there. But they have talked about one in Wake County, though, and they may do it. The law now makes it legal, so they're going to be somewhere in North Carolina. Why not Wake County? I think you'll see the first ones, though. The first ones are probably going to be close to the Virginia line, and probably either close to Danville or close to Bristol or close to Norfolk, close to where Virginia casinos are right now.
One of the things that I myself like about the casinos is I don't gamble that much, but the one in Danville is bringing in so much of top rate entertainment. Like every other week is a big name. So
it's it's a full-fledged Vegas type casino. With the games and the entertainment and the hotel and the prices and everything you would expect in Las Vegas. I haven't been. I know a couple of people who have been. I know somebody who went over there and ate in the Gordon Ramsay restaurant.
I've done that.
Have you? How much did you spend?
It was 4 people, and we spent about $450.
That goes along with what the other guy told me. He said, I went over there and I ate in Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, and if I had lost a filling over there, I spent enough money that would fixed my teeth. I spent so much money. But he said, I knew it was going to be expensive, but I just wanted to do it for the experience. Was it good?
It was. The bread was the best part.
Guys,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean to interrupt here, but I've been able to pull up some interesting information here regarding our contest.
Mm-hmm.
And been able to find the precinct information. And
good.
What I can see here is that it appears that most of the precincts that border with Rockingham County have all been reported. The ones that have yet to report, there's a couple in the very center of Guilford County, but the others are on the easternmost side, so farther away. And the interesting thing, when you look at these, the precincts that border Rockingham County, obviously Mr. Page fared much better, but the farther you branch out, the less well that he did. If you want to hear a few of these numbers, it looks like Mr. Berger carried first precinct 54% to 45%, 59% to 40%, 65 to 34.
Interesting.
I can only find one that Mr. Page carried, which was by 5 votes. So
But we still don't know which 4 precincts have not reported. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Which 2 precincts? We got an update.
We got an update?
Yeah. 46 precincts in. The margin is now 100 and it's under 200 votes now. It's 865. 172 votes. Page is leading. 172 votes. Danny, did you say you know which 2 haven't reported?
Yes, if you give me just one moment. Update.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Okay, so 12,793 for Mr. Berger, 12,965 for Mr. Page.
Yep, 172 votes.
Wow.
This is going to be a recount, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give me just 1 second here.
So that's 92.94% of the vote.
Precinct listed as RC1, that is on the easternmost side of Guilford County.
Hmm.
That has not reported, and then there is one that appears to be almost in the center of Guilford County. It's listed as JAM3. I'm not sure again what that precinct is.
Jamestown. That's Jamestown.
That's a pretty big precinct, isn't it?
Should be.
Jamestown?
Now, one of the reporting precincts actually shows up as a specialized color because they actually split even 50% to 50%, 116 to 116. That was one of the ones that just reported NWASH in Wash.
Can we
So-
ask can we ask AI how many people typically vote in Jamestown? In that area? I'm doing a primary?
I may be able to find out based on the last election. Give me just a moment.
Yeah. All right.
So that Jamestown precinct is probably the one with more voters in it than the other one. We don't know, but odds are that's the one with most voters in it. And that Jamestown precinct you would think, don't know, but you would think the Jamestown precinct would vote more like Greensboro than like Rockingham County. And if that's the case, that would be an advantage for Phil Berger. But I got to tell you, I don't see any way right now how this is going to be outside of a 1% margin. It just doesn't seem possible at this point. Because right now, Sam Page has 50.33%. Berger has 49.67%. And I don't see how two precincts can widen that out to any great extent. $12,965 for Page, $12,793 for Berger, 172 votes.
In the last election for state senate specifically, in the JAM3 Jamestown precinct, a total of 2,410 votes were cast in the last election that Mr. Berger ran in.
Well, with a 172 vote margin, you can see what that could do.
Yep.
So bite another nail, Charles. Have you got any left?
This is
I guarantee you Berger and Page are biting some.
right. These elections are exciting from time to time. I mean, this is exciting from a standpoint of just, how this is coming down.
Oh, yeah.
And how split things are.
Mhm.
I mean, we talk about divided government, but this is like divided party.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't remember the last time there was something like this in a primary around here.
Yeah.
I don't know there's ever been anything exactly like this in a primary. Surely at some point in all these years there has been, but I don't recall it. I mean, this is unlike any primary that I've
Guys,
seen.
I gave you the wrong information. So
Okay.
that actually was the amount of ballots cast in that precinct, 2,479, but that wasn't the district last time. That precinct, there were two different people running for that office.
Yeah, they redrawn the district.
Yeah.
So I don't know if those numbers are necessarily valid.
Well, they are, and they're not. I mean, they're valid to the extent that they tell us how enthusiastically people in that district vote. Obviously, it wasn't this race and it wasn't these candidates, but we can say that, well, there are a couple of thousand people there who vote in primaries, and if they did then it's reasonable to expect that they would now. So I think it's worth something. I wish, though, that whoever is remaining to vote, well, nobody's still going to vote. I wish they'd get those counted because I want to see how this ends.
Yeah. How does this movie end, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is this is interesting. This is really this is the most interesting thing I've done on any election night in a long time.
One of the things that
172 votes.
Covering Phil Berger, one thing you can see, he's a very serious man.
Yeah.
You can tell he's concentrating on the job. I think he's passionate about the job. And when I asked him on the microphone, he didn't like to brag. He tried not to brag, but sometimes I had to brag for him. I'd say, look, you've held that job since 2011, and with the way politics goes, if you can hold a job that long, you've done something. So that was one of the things I remember covering him is just how serious he was, but he didn't want to brag. He was. I think this whole thing has made him a little uncomfortable.
If he hasn't been uncomfortable, yeah, he's uncomfortable now. I promise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I guess, yeah.
That brings up another point that we haven't talked about this yet. We were talking about the amount of time that Phil Berger has held that job as President Pro Tem of the Senate, and it is a long time, since 2011. One of the points in the Page campaign was term limits for leaders. Term limits for people in Phil Berger's office and other leaders in the General Assembly. Page said, if I get there, I will support term limits. Nobody should be in a leadership position for that long. Not Phil Berger or anybody else. And that's one of Sam Page's points.
I always get a kick out of that. You got to remember he's 70 years old.
Which one are you talking about?
I mean, it's okay for most of these guys are for term limits when they're old.
Oh well, how old is Phil Berger? Just for the heck of it,
I think he's around 80.
Phil Berger's 80.
I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but he's up there too.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that. In any event, obviously, Mr. Berger would not be in favor of limiting his term as President Pro Tem of the Senate, whereas it is one of Sam Page's points that we need to limit the length of leadership. Of course, that's an ongoing debate in politics, and the reason that never happens, people talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. The reason it never happens is there are all kinds of candidates who, and I'm not talking about Sam Page here. I'm just talking about the general herd of candidates I've seen over the years. There are lots of candidates who talk about term limits when they're not in office, but once they get in office, they don't think it's a very good idea. And that's why, as much of a hue and cry as there's been over the years for term limits, politicians have to do it to themselves, and they don't like to do that to themselves.
I think Danny's got a computer in front of him. Ask him if he can guess how old Phil Berger is.
Danny, can you get Phil Berger's age? Maybe?
Yes, he is 73 years old.
Okay.
1952.
73, okay.
73. And I think Sam Page is, I want to say he's 70, maybe 71. So there's lots of life experience involved in this race. And obviously, yeah, on the one case, lots of sheriffing experience, and the other case, lots of legislating experience. So everybody's been around the block in this one.
I always get a kick when I'm
Born in 1957.
when
Sam was, okay, 1957. So he's 69. All right. Well, that's about 70. I wasn't that far off.
there's an interesting billboard when you drive through Eden that's got Phil Berger on it, and it says supported by law enforcement. I thought that was kind of
Yeah, that is interesting. You would imagine that a sheriff would have most of the law enforcement support, but not the case here. B.J. Barnes, sheriff of Guilford County, came out strong for Phil Berger, and that could be one of the reasons that he's running so well in Guilford County. I think Sam Page had some law enforcement support as well.
Yeah, and of course, there's record of Sam Page donating some money to Phil Berger
over the
in previous
years.
campaigns.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Republicans tend to give money to other Republicans, so that wasn't a shock.
Right. It was one of the things the Berger campaign reminded me about.
How much?
Around the $100 range, I believe.
Okay,
So one a lot.
That's good. I'm sure Senator Berger appreciated that and probably sent to Sam a thank you card.
Oh, man.
It's almost over, folks, but it's not quite over yet. If you happen to be just joining us, we still don't know who's going to win between Sam Page and Phil Berger. We have.
What time is it?
What time is it? It's 10:43.
10:43.
Mm-hmm. We have 2 precincts yet to report from Guilford County, and we have Sam Page leading by 172 votes. So anything can happen. When the polls closed in Rockingham County and all the votes were counted,
I bet you they've gone home.
Pardon?
I bet you they've gone home.
Who's gone home?
The folks that added the numbers up in Rockingham County, they did good tonight, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure they've gone home. Good for them.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of folks in Guilford County who wish they could go home. So if you want to go home, folks, count the votes. Get it done.
At this point, you wonder if there's a hang-up.
Well, yeah, there's some kind of hang-up. If there wasn't a hang-up, they'd be counted by now. But what you have to is it a serious hang-up? Is it maybe something just a computer that needs to reboot? Or is it a computer that needs a new hard drive? I don't know. It could be a big hang-up or it could be a little one. Let's hope it's a little one.
And why is it specifically the precincts that we need to be reported?
Well, that's how they plan it. There's always somebody saying, if we slow down this precinct and that precinct, then they'll have to stay up half the night to figure out who won. That'll get them.
I'm also wondering, Jamestown, as far as a precinct, is it one of the larger ones? It appears to be, but that's just a guess.
Well, if it had 2,000 votes in the last primary, and if the turnout for that primary was, say, 12%, 10%, not unusual for a primary, then there'd be about 20,000 voters there. But that's just an estimate.
It appears that the Jamestown precinct is actually geographically pretty small. In fact, it's one of the smaller precincts, but it's right near the center, so I imagine it's a highly populated area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably is if it's in the middle of Jamestown. And that whole area is growing by leaps and bounds, so it's probably pretty well populated.
Now, what is the RC1? Because that one is a larger geographic area, but it looks like it's on the outskirts of Guilford.
RC. I'm trying to think of what RC would stand for, and I'm not bringing anything to mind right offhand. Is it in Northeast Guilford?
Yes.
RC. I don't know. I can't bring it up. There's no, can't think of a community out there with those initials. Do you know how many people voted in that one last primary?
I'm looking that up now.
Because it's probably not a big population out there in that part of the county. These numbers, been looking at these same numbers for a while now. I want to see some different numbers, but it's still 12,965, 12,793, 172 vote margin.
One thing I do know is both camps are not ready to come out and speak. You know.
Oh no, they're going to say they're not going to have much to say yet.
Yeah.
And
one if one will they concede? I mean, it's this close, you know.
Nobody's going to concede this. No, absolutely, nobody's going to concede this. Not this close. If it winds up this close, and it almost certainly will, because there are not that many votes left, you won't hear any concession speeches tonight. You'll hear speeches that say stuff like, "This is not over." The candidate, whoever's behind, this election is not yet over, and I guarantee all the people who have supported me, who have contributed to me, all the people who believe so strongly in what I have done and what I plan to do in the future in service to the people, I promise you, we will not waver. We will not give up. We will call for a recount, and we will continue this process until we have won. That's the loser's speech that I wrote for him.
Have you ever done speeches for winners and losers?
No, but I've listened to a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
you know what
the answer on the RC2 district. It appears, and that's the High Point area. It looks like.
Okay.
156 votes total in that district, or in that precinct.
That's how many voted in the last primary?
In the 2024 primary for state senate, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's a much smaller district than Jamestown.
Geographically larger, but yeah, it looks like population-wise, it's almost nominal. But of course, this thing it's interesting that this thing could be close enough, possibly, that 156 votes might end up really being a big difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, the margin right now is 172. 156 could be a big deal. If they just count them. Count them and post them.
Ken, do you have their phone number? Maybe you can call over there and find out what's going on.
Oh yeah, I have all the precincts on speed dial, but my phone's downstairs. My phone's downstairs, unfortunately. You know, that would be interesting if we could. We probably couldn't, but it'd be interesting to get one of these precincts on the phone and say, "Hey, what's going on? When are you going to get those votes posted?"
I'll do that. I can't put it on the air, but I'll call them.
Okay, do you have a number to call?
Let me,
if you have a number,
I'll have to break away. Can y'all let me go away for just a second?
I think so.
You're going to leave your camera there, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jamestown, is that I guess the Jamestown Registrar, right?
Charles.
Well,
Yeah.
it would be the Guilford County Board of Elections is where you would call.
Okay. All right.
Charles, you stay on camera. I can mute your stream because it may end up taking too long to do this. I'll just mute your stream so that it's not on air. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go back with your audio.
Yeah. Just call the County Board of Elections and ask them what can we expect from these two precincts that haven't reported yet.
Guilford County of Elections. Tell me what that would say. Say that one more time, Ken.
Guilford County Board of Elections.
Elections. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
All right. I got my assignment. I'll be back.
Okay, good man.
Yeah.
Who says a guy in a bow tie isn't good for anything? Okay, Danny, here we are, still 172 vote margin. Now, if you haven't, folks out there who may not have been following this, and it's hard to imagine anybody who's watching now hasn't been following it. Sam Page took a 4,500 vote lead, 4,500 vote margin in Rockingham County. And then the Guilford County votes started to come in, and that margin started to shrink. And now it's down to 172 votes, 12,965 for Page, 12,793 for Berger. And the missing pieces are count them, two precincts in Guilford County that have not yet posted their vote totals. We expect that to be, based on the vote in the last primary in those precincts, we expect that to be somewhere in the area of 2,000 to maybe 2,200 votes that probably will come out of those two precincts. So with a margin of 172, it's obviously, what comes out of those two precincts is going to decide who ends up with the most votes in this primary. But it seems highly unlikely that that's going to be the end of it, because the percentage margin right now is, basically it's 2/3 of 1% between the two candidates as far as the percentage of vote that they have gotten, and that's recount territory. So whoever ends up with the most votes when those two precincts come in, there seems to be an excellent chance, probably a pretty good probability, that one side, well, that would be the side with the fewest votes, will ask for a recount. So this is not over. Not only is it not over now, it may not be over for quite some time. And Danny, I'm clicking just out of idle hope, I'm clicking my refresh button. I usually don't get rewarded for that. And I don't think I got rewarded for it this time either. So,
What? What's it say? Who said? No, that's the way they always are. Is that a news story or what?
That's on their outlines.
so we are waiting for those final votes to be posted
March.
from
Yeah, but that's
Guilford County, so we can figure out who's going to come out on top in this extremely close primary between Sam Page and Phil Berger. I think it's pretty much what most people expected, that it would be very, very close. I don't know if anybody expected it would be quite this close, but this is about as close as it gets. But this is what we are. This is where we sit. Where we have sat several times before here at Star News, waiting for the last votes to be counted so that we can determine the winner of this primary.
Ken, do you want to run through the Rockingham results again? Just for
Yeah, in fact, I just had that on my mind. I'm switching pages right now, and I'm going to do a little scrolling and clicking here in order to do it, and we'll work our way back over to the local races in Rockingham County, starting with the Board of Commissioners. Elected to the Board of Commissioners tonight in Rockingham County, Kevin Southard with 6,577 votes, and Greg Ziegler with 5,469 votes. Those outside the top two were Houston Barrow with 4,801, Charlie Hall 4,020, Lee Shelton 1,348, and Paul C. Wilson with 915 votes. So the winners in the county commission vote tonight are Kevin Southard and Greg Ziegler. Moving down to the Rockingham County Board of Education, 3 are elected. Kimberly McMichael with 9,138 votes, Philip Butler with 8,652 votes, and Kimberly Thompson Hairston with 6,784 votes, all Republicans. That I guess you probably figured that out. The fourth candidate, Cynthia Penalosa, with 3,699 votes. So elected to the Board of Education, Kimberly McMichael, Philip Butler, and Kimberly Thompson Hairston. The Rockingham County Clerk of Superior Court, Abner M. Bullins, the incumbent, will continue to serve as Rockingham County Clerk of Superior Court. He pulled in 7,415 votes tonight to Kelly Stanfield Carter's 5,447. Abner Bullins, winner in the Clerk of Superior Court race. And we had a sheriff's primary tonight. Both parties had a primary. In the Democratic primary, the winner was Franklin Moore with 2,818 votes. To John Farrell Jr.'s 1,599. Franklin Moore will be the Democratic nominee for Sheriff of Rockingham County. In the Republican primary, it was Billy Parker, 5,750, Darren Wright, 4,661, and Brian Harbour, 2,888 votes. Billy Parker, the winner, by about 8 percentage points over Darren Wright. So on the ballot for Rockingham County Sheriff in the fall, it'll be Republican Billy Parker and Democrat Franklin Moore. And that's the local Rockingham County voting. In the state House contest involving the incumbent Reese Pirtle and Seth Woodall, the challenger, I don't happen to have those numbers right in front of me, but it was a fairly comfortable win for Seth Woodall for State House District 65 in Rockingham County. So he defeats Reese Pirtle. Seth Woodall will be joining the North Carolina House of Representatives, representing District 65, Rockingham County. And that's all that local voting. The thing that remains, obviously, is the primary contest between Phil Berger and Sam Page in State Senate District 26. And the last time I looked at the numbers, Sam Page was ahead by 172 votes, with 2 precincts yet to report, 2 Guilford County precincts yet to report to decide exactly who will have the most votes in that race. And anything happening up there?
Yes.
Charles,
we just
yes.
had the rest in. It's over.
Okay, tell us.
I'm looking here. This is crazy. 2 votes difference.
Oh, no.
13,077 for Sam Page, 13,075 for Phil Berger.
Wow.
One.
2
votes.
votes. Okay, recount, no doubt about it.
Right. Wow.
No concession speech tonight.
That's historical, ain't it?
I've never seen that before. Not in a race with that many. You know, I've seen like 104 to 103, but I've never seen that with this many votes.
Mm.
Well, Charles, what do you think?
Well, I was waiting for the Guilford. They got the music going on, so that they're not answering phones right now.
Well, we don't need them now.
Yeah.
What were they playing? What kind of music? Anything good?
It was computer music, you know.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
well,
all
heck
right.
with that.
All right. Can we, y'all refresh your computers just to make sure that's right?
Okay, everybody refresh.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna go look at the individual precinct too, but I mean, this is the numbers. This is 48 of 48 for,
it says 100%.
that is it. In the Jamestown district, it looks like Phil Berger took it 126 votes to 56 votes. That was 69% to 30%.
Hmm.
Then in the RC district, Phil Berger took 156 votes to 56 votes.
Well, who's winning now?
No, it's Sam Page has unofficially won by 2 votes.
2 votes. That's about as unofficial as it can get.
Yeah. That could change.
No, that's, well, all the votes are in.
Right.
Of course, who knows? They may find a box of votes under a desk somewhere before tomorrow morning. We don't know.
Right.
At this point, certainly at this point, I'm not sure how North Carolina law works, but I would imagine this is an automatic revote.
Oh yeah, this is automatic. This is a recount.
The
So-
interesting thing too is that if I remember correctly, not Phil Berger, but Sam Page took 9,009 votes, something like that, in Rockingham County. Phil Berger
That's right.
took 8,575 in Guilford. So they basically had mirror images in
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what they did. So, Charles, we sat here all this time and talked about this, and we still don't have a winner.
I told you it was going to be a nail biter.
Okay,
I'm proud of that one.
You got any nails left?
I can't remember a race locally here in Henry County where we had Deborah Buchanan ended up winning by 1 vote.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then this isn't so close after all. I mean, the margin here is double that.
Yeah. So I have seen these close races like this. And
Well,
I remember, you remember George Allen, who was governor of Virginia?
Of course, absolutely.
He would tell the story about Deborah Buchanan in Henry County about winning by that 1 vote, about how important it is to get the vote out and things of that nature. And I'm telling you, both of these camps are going to sit and have those postmortems, you call them.
Yep.
And they're going to like scratch their heads and say, they're going to come up with things they didn't do.
And Charles, here's something else we need to say. How often do you hear somebody say, "Yeah, I guess I'll go," or maybe I'm just not going to go vote? Because I mean, how can my 1 vote make any difference? Well, there you go.
Yeah, right.
It can make a big, big difference.
Yeah. And I'm sure that there are 1 or 2 vote mistakes out there.
Well,
and so tomorrow when they get up, they got to, go through that process and canvass the votes and do all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
And I promise you they're calling the lawyers right now in Raleigh to get up here and watch it all and so forth.
There will be along I-40. There will be a parade of Lexuses on the way, on the way to Rockingham County, with a lawyer driving every one of them.
Right. And my bet is that Phil Berger's going to have more lawyers.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good bet.
Yeah. They got. What did Trump, when he called in Georgia, he says, "I need 1,100 votes."
11,000. Yeah.
11,000 votes. Yeah. I'm sure Berger's saying, "I need 3 votes."
3. Get me 3 somewhere. Well, now let's not forget last time. Remember the county commission vote when Kevin Berger appeared to have been defeated. Remember, and then they found some votes overnight, and he ended up winning by 3.
Right.
It can happen.
Right.
I guess we're done, aren't we?
Well, we do need to do a recap, and probably you're better at that than I am. Just to kind of go over, we can get that in the news. Danny, can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, first of all, I've had a lot of fun with y'all tonight. It's why I love this job. I mean, when you think you've seen it all, you haven't.
You know,
know?
and I feel sort of underdressed because you're in the white shirt and bow tie, but you have to understand this is the only shirt I'm allowed to wear on the air, because if I wear anything else, Danny has to reset the green screen, and he doesn't
I
want to
get it.
do that.
I get it. I've had a
So
busy
that's-
news day. We've had the annual trade show here in Martinsville, so I went to that. We had our red carpet, and we did a lot of business rubbing elbows and stuff. So we did that, shifted gears, and came and helped y'all with primary coverage. It's been quite a news day. I was going to head down to Reidsville, but I'm sure there's not going to be a victory party in either
No,
camp.
there won't be any celebrations now, not tonight.
It looks like probably Abner Bullens and Billy Parker are celebrating.
Well, yeah,
I will say
they are.
Yeah, Kevin Southard. He probably would get from me the hardest campaigner. He's been campaigning longer than any of them and more serious about it. So that definitely paid off for him. Ziegler was like a stunt preacher. He preached and he was all against that casino, and it looked like it paid off. It looks like the casino probably hurt Houston Barrow. That's what he talked about during the forum. And Bullens, I think just him having a good attitude helped him.
All right. Well, Charles, you want to run through just to get our wrap up? What you want us to run through these?
Let Danny do that if he can. If y'all
right.
want me to stay, I will.
Okay. Well, don't need to.
Yeah, it'll. I have everything lined up for that. We actually just went over the long recap. So Ken, if you just want to, you don't need to hit all the individual numbers again, but if you just want to go through the winners, and
Okay.
that way we can, we'll have that as a recap.
Do I say good night?
No, Charles, you want to stay as well.
Okay. All right.
All right. The winners tonight in the local races in Rockingham County for Rockingham County Board of Commissioners elected this evening, Kevin Southard and Greg Ziegler. Rockingham County Board of Education, the three winners are Kimberly McMichael, Philip Butler, and Kimberly Thompson Hairston. For Rockingham County Clerk of Superior Court, Abner Bullens wins another term in that job. Rockingham County Sheriff primaries tonight. In the Republican primary, Billy Parker is the winner. Franklin Moore takes the Democratic primary. It'll be Franklin Moore against Billy Parker for the sheriff of Rockingham County in the fall. And in State House District 65, Seth Woodall defeats incumbent Reese Pirtle. Okay.
All right, I guess you guys want to say goodnight.
Okay. Good night.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done that. Say good night,
No.
Charles.
Good night.
And thanks for being with us for election returns tonight on Star News. I'm Ken Eccles.
I'm Charles Rourke.